Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and I want to talk about what a libertarian is and isn't. And I've talked about this several times before. I've made posts about this several times before, but it always bears repeating because everyone always believes that a libertarian like them is the only kind of libertarian a lot of the times. And then sometimes people who do stretch the bounds of libertarianism stretch it too far that it is kind of hard to call them a libertarian anymore. So it is important to understand kind of where these lines are. And bottom line is, to call yourself libertarian, all you have to believe is that it is socially optimal, that basically the world would be better off if we followed the principles of self-ownership and non-aggression, which just means that you own yourself, your body, your life, your property. Okay? Which means property rights. So if you own your body, your life, your property, then no one else has the right to use force to take that from you. That's non-aggression. Okay, no one has the right to initiate force. You of course have the right to defend your property. So you have the right to use force to defend your life, your body, your property, but no one has the right to initiate to take your life, take your body, take your property. But beyond you owning your life, body, and property, having your property rights, and no one having the right to initiate force on you, libertarianism has no opinion on the rest as a rule of how to govern society or how society should be structured. So you can be a libertarian conservative who believes in sort of a very specific way that families should be set up and relationships should be managed and social structures and whatnot. You can be that person as long as you don't think that should be forced on people. You don't want to use violence to make that world. You just want to say, hey, this is why I think this world should be this way, and I hope that I can convince you to do it voluntarily. You can be a progressive libertarian. You can be a libertarian that thinks, hey, inequality is an issue, and we need to redistribute wealth, and we all need to voluntarily pitch in and create a universal basic income, long as you don't want to use force on others to force that world. Okay? Theoretically, you can even be a libertarian socialist, where you basically want to get together in voluntary communities, where in that community, everything is everyone's. And if you don't abide by the arrangement, you can't be part of the community. Long as you don't want to force that on anybody else. Long as you don't want to initiate violence on other people's life, body, and property. But if you are a progressive, a conservative, a socialist, or anything you can think of, and you want to use force to make that world happen, you want to say, hey, you know what, I think this is the best way for society to work, so we should have government just force people to do that, then you are not a libertarian. The minute you say it's okay for someone else to initiate force on someone else's property, basically saying, hey, you know what, I like your food. I'm going to take your food because I'm starving, and that's okay because I was starving, even though that was your food and I didn't get your permission. You are not a libertarian because you are saying it's okay to use force on somebody's life, body, and property. But again, you can have any belief on how the way the world works. Now, me personally, I have a much more neutral view. From a cultural standpoint, from a societal standpoint, I don't even call myself a cultural libertarian because I have no particular, I don't think there is an ideal way the world should work. I don't think there is ideal situations. I think institutions evolve and everything evolves based on sort of the current demands of society at the time, based on a bajillion different variables. So even society, I want to be as open as possible, even absent of the question of whether, we use force on each other or not. I want everything to be sort of as open as possible to evolve based on sort of what's going on in the world nowadays. So even at a cultural level, I have a very sort of libertarian way of looking at everything, okay? Because I don't believe there is constants as far as how society should work, because nothing is constant. Geography isn't constant, the environment isn't constant, population isn't constant, our genetics aren't constant. Nothing is constant. Nothing is predictable. You name it, nothing is constant. So there's nothing that I can say, to me personally, that I can say this is the absolute way I think society should be organized. And that's why I consider myself a free market libertarian. Because a free market really is the absence of having a view of how things should work. I just want people to individually decide, pitch their opportunity, pursue the opportunities they want, convince people to do the activities that they want, and see what the market demands, see what society demands, and let society work the way that seems to work at the time. Okay? So when I call myself a free market, an open market libertarian, that's what I mean. I'm just saying, hey, you know what? Society will work the way it is. But not all libertarians are necessarily free marketers. You can be a libertarian who believes in very specific ways that society, the economy should be arranged, long as you don't want to use force it to happen. You don't think that people should have a gun put up to the side of their head to force them to do things the way you want them to do it. If you believe that there is a real value in making sure that everyone's life, body, and property is protected, that the way society should work, or the way you think society should work, should happen because you convince people of the value of your idea. And then if that world happens, it's because you were able to convince and educate people on the value of your ideas. You are a libertarian, even if we may have different views on how society should structure itself or how flexible society should be in organizing itself. So you can be you name it. You can be a very vile, horrible worldview as far as things that the way you want society to work, and still be a libertarian. If you don't want to force people, you don't want to use violence on people to create your horrible version of the world. Okay? You can be the most noble person in the world and have the most perfect, ideal, generous view of the world and not be a libertarian because you want to use violence to force that world. But you can also be that generous, awesome person and be a libertarian because you want to convince people the value of making that world happen. That's the difference. That's who and who isn't a libertarian. Again, there's a lot of wiggle room in there. A lot of people fit. Most people are libertarians. Most people don't want to force others to do things. They just want to be able to do their thing. But there are boundaries. So my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. Have a great day and enjoy.